Hey guys, this is Chew and Digest, where we share a mental meal, ideas to chew on, and lessons to digest. Let's get this video started, guys. I feel like when I was younger, and please comment down below if you feel the same way, I thought that I was done eating when the stomach felt kind of tight, right? And I grew up and I realized, well, when your stomach feels kind of tight, that means that you actually overeat, right? You're supposed to feel satisfied but still comfortable. Video we did talk about mental health and how that affects our weight, but something that I didn't touch on that I would like to touch on in this episode is that something that I would like to chew on in psychology of overeating, right? So before we get started with today's video, what am I meal prepping today? I'm gonna throw this beef stew into the crock pot, and I'm gonna throw this chicken into the onto the stove. Honestly, overeating just becomes a thing that is either developed because sometimes as a parent, right? I'm not a parent yet, but as a parent, you hear often, especially in this field, that we want our kids to finish their plate, right? We want our children to finish their plate because if they didn't finish their plate, then you feel like they're not eating enough, right? Even in when the child is a baby, right? Your kid is a baby. A lot of the time when you go to the hospital, they're giving your baby as a newborn a whole bottle of formula. Let me tell you something. Your baby doesn't need a whole full bottle of formula. So at a young age, some of us are being overfed, right? And then when we grow up, right, we're expected to eat a lot of the food that is given to us, right? At a young age, I was expected to eat food. Like I said in my previous video, I didn't feel like eating. I grew up with a poor appetite, honestly. Like, as a child, probably like 4 to 5 years old, I had no interest in like food. I don't really know where that stems from at all, but now I eat like too much. But at the end of the day, that's based on education. Like culturally, like we is a Caribbean household or whatever household outside the United States, like finishing the plate is a sign that the child ate enough, right? But a lot of times kids know if they're full or not, if they ate too much. And if they say they're full, they're full. But sometimes we think, hey, my child didn't finish their food. They underate. They're not eating well. And sometimes even as a dietitian, I try to affirm parents when they tell me that their child is not eating enough. And I'm like asking them what they do eat. And they explain, I'm like, oh, obviously I'm not there. But it does sound like your child is eating enough. Like, is their labs normal? And I try to ask questions and try to affirm. But hey, if you feel like your child's under eating, you're their mama, you're their daddy, right? I'm not judging. Let's think about it from the perspective of low income families, right? Many low income families are not thinking about how to create a balanced plate. If anything, they're thinking about how can I just make sure or assure that my child has food in the first place. Let me make sure that they have 3 meals a day and that their tummies are full and they can go to sleep and go to school the next day. So now that we've spoken about when we were younger, when as children, how overeating can become a thing as a child, let's talk about adulthood, right? Adulthood, as I've talked about in my previous video, is stressful. So growing up, we find ways to cope with how stressful life can be. One of those things can be eating. So how does that even start? How does that even happen to even start in the first place, right? If you're getting stressed, how is eating becoming a source of coping with life, right? Life stresses, right? So let's say that you are stressed and you decide to get some comfort food, right? This could begin as a teenager as well. Your body begins to think, when you eat, how do I put this? When you eat sugary foods or salty foods, right, your body releases dopamine or serotonin, right? So that's the happy hormone, right? Or the relaxed hormone. And so now every time you're stressed, or a lot of times when you're stressed, you may resort to food as a way of comforting yourself, right? And then it becomes a cycle, right? It becomes stress, eating the food, dopamine from the food, become stressed again because life is like something's always happening, right? Stress, eating, something comforting, dopamine, right? And there's nothing wrong with getting the comfort food, but what we want to do is break the habit, of course, of that being the resort, or of us eating the junk food as a way of comforting ourselves. We have to find new ways of comforting ourselves and creating better habits for ourselves. Because at the end of the day, life's always going to be stressful. We can always resort to ice cream, right? I mean, or we can. There's healthier ice creams out there. It's whatever's best for you. I don't judge. Life has seriously taught us not to give each other grace sometimes. And so we think that we should be perfect as well. We don't see how we lack grace for ourselves, especially when it comes to this journey of eating and overeating and learning how to be healthy. We think we have all the answers because we have access to the internet. Eating should be something. How do I put this? Eating should be something. This is not coming out properly. Eating should be something that's enjoyable, right? Some health fitness people will tell you, you don't have to enjoy everything you eat. And who said that? And why? Culturally, in Caribbean households, you have to enjoy what you eat. Like, it's a non-negotiable. Like, life is hard. I don't want to come home and eat nasty food. So I don't agree with those people about not every food has to be enjoyable. You should be nourishing your body. I should be nourishing my body as well as enjoying my food. Life is hard enough, okay? Now that we're almost finished meal prepping and the sun is kind of going down, let's get to the fact. Let's get to the digest part of this episode. At the end of the day, if you either, I just saw a bug. At the end of the day, if you choose to eat bland chicken as a way to teach yourself how to eat better or lose weight or bring down your A1C levels, that's up to you. But if you choose to do it while enjoying the journey, it's going to take some time.